All right, Mr. Cox, what's going on?
How you doing there, sir?
Good, man. We back for another episode of Gents Making Sense, man. We got a good one tonight. We're going to talk about the proposed Senate agreement and on the shutdown, and then we're going to talk about how it may potentially affect Black Americans.
All right, and we're gonna talk about a little bit about what the Democrats actually got for the American people during the shutdown and everything. We'll break that down too, and how it's gonna affect us and everything. First of all, let's talk about our particulars, how to get it, how to see our stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So we're up on YouTube all the time after our episodes on a weekly basis. So you can see all of our shorts, you can see all of our our
full
videos.
episode.
Yeah, and then we sometimes we put our stuff up on social media, which is Spoutable. We don't do the X thing. Spoutable's available at Gents MS. And please on YouTube, if you like our content, either comment, but definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be able to get all of our new content. We're looking forward to it.
Good, thank you. Before we get started, I'm gonna give the shout out to our two Black companies that we're highlighting every week. And there's one more that I'm gonna bring on pretty soon. Supplement is a water bottle company owned by Black people, and it's spelled SUPLMNT. You can see it on the screen. I have a supplement bottle here. As you can see, they're real nice bottles. I've had it for a little while now, and it stays cold and it's non-spill. I like that because I spill it a lot. Another one is actively black. Actively Black is competition with is active wear like Nike, Under Armour, and Adidas and everything. They sell some nice high-end stuff. Support them, y'all. If you get a chance, get out there and support them. Okay, let's get into the show now. So, as everybody know, unless you've been living on a rock, there's been a shutdown. So the shutdown is survival mode for Black America. It's hard on everybody, but when it comes to Black America, it's survival mode because, as you know, as America suffers, it disproportionately affects Black people to a greater sense. So I'm hearing a lot of people saying the Democrats did it again. They caved. They gave in. These 8 Democratic senators just sold everybody out. The normal characters, Bernie Sanders, LC, all of them are yelling, y'all sold us out and everything. I say you gotta be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. Two things can be sure correct at the same time. First of all, let's break down what was in the new CR, the amendments in the new CR that's going to open up the government. And by the way, Congress is voting on it as we speak right now, tonight, Wednesday night at around 8:30. They're about to pass it right now. So hopefully the government be back up and people get back to work, get their paychecks, their back pay, and all that. So let me break it down real quick so we can have a conversation. So in this deal, it restores SNAP benefits through 2026. That's a lifetime for millions, especially Black families disproportionately impacted by food insecurity. Federal workers, the next one is federal workers, many of whom are Black, will receive back pay, but the trauma of uncertainty that doesn't come with a refund. So Obamacare subsidies still hanging in the balance. If they expire, premiums could soar, leaving Black folks who rely heavily on ACA plans exposed and insecure. A couple of the other things that were in the deal that I didn't have it there, but let me get it for you. There is also, with that federal workers going back to work, there's a guarantee in there that they will not find themselves being fired again for no cause. Yeah, there's a guarantee of that. And 2 little hammers that they left in there, and these 2 I really like. Senate Leader Thunes Republican leader has guaranteed the Democrats a vote in the Senate on extending the ACA supplements by no later than the 15th of December.
Yep.
Now, that's important because what happens is now, even if it doesn't pass, there's no guarantee it's going to pass, but he's going to bring it up for a vote. Even if it don't pass, you'll know where every senator stands with this. And what
Yep.
it says, if you vote no, you're saying the American people don't deserve these subsidies. So that's important. It don't sound like much, but I think that's important. Uh, and let me say this it's a little bit off topic, and I'll get back on topic. But subsidies is not the answer to this problem. The answer is to come up with permanent solutions for the holes that the ACA has. Barack Obama, everybody else in the world have said that there are problems with the ACA, but the congressmen and senators need to sit down and work on it, come to some kind of agreement and everything, because these subsidies are not the long-term solution. It's just a short-term patch and everything. They really got Republicans. Just think about it. For the last 10, 12 years, Republicans been saying what? They used to have a little catchy phrase called repeal and replace, repeal and replace. Then it just became
Repeal.
repealed because they didn't have they still don't have a replacement.
They never.
I've seen several congressmen, Republican congressmen and senators asked on shows this past week, say, okay, so say we get rid of Obamacare. What are you gonna replace it with? And they never give an answer. They just start reeling off the wrong things wrong with Obamacare. And I've heard one person say, "Hey, you told me what's wrong with it, but what are you gonna replace it with?" Well, I don't know right now, but that's why we got to get and talk. So you want to repeal it with no replacement? Yeah, so it's crazy. So back on topic. So that little caveat where they're gonna get those people on the record of voting yay or nay for it is important. The other little caveat is January 3rd, I'm sorry, we might find ourselves right back in the same place because they got to,
Temporary.
it's a temporary solution. This is a temporary solution. All this runs out January 30th. So if the Senate does not do a vote and the Congress do not do a vote, then what you'll have is Democrats shutting down Democrat voting not to agree on what they come, and the government will shut down again. Okay, so I've said a mouthful. I'm sorry it took a lot of time there. So let's talk about this, and let's talk about it in personal terms. Let's first see how we got there, then we'll attach the SNAP benefits, federal government's going back to work. Tell me, what's the significance of not extending the subsidies on the ACA and how to affect Black people in particular?
Well, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, there are, a lot of African Americans in this country that need, SNAP benefits. I think is more for the kids, but there are a lot of people that send their kids to school, and they may not have had breakfast, and having the ability for kids to have breakfast, having the ability to have SNAP money sent to you, EBT cards, and things like that are is important for some people in this country. I mean, I've always said is that what's the purpose of the government? If the government is not going to provide the bare minimum for its citizens, then what's the purpose of it? So, this fight over SNAP and the Affordable Care Act, I mean, to me, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. I think it's important that this was a win in my opinion with the Democrats by getting the vote, so you can hold people accountable at elections next year, and say you voted to keep the government closed, or you voted to not give people subsidies for health care, or you voted not to feed children. That's important. That's a win for the Democrats because now you're going to get Republicans on record. They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan to replace the ACA. They never have. It's just, let's talk about how bad it is. Let's talk about how much money it costs. But we're not going to ever come up with a plan or put something on the table for other people to use. And I'm getting off track like you are a little bit too, but Democrats and liberals in this country need to relax. I mean, take what just happened at the last election and use it to gain power. You won all over the country. You won in the South. You won in the in the mid Atlantic. You won in the Northeast. You won on the West Coast. You won all across this country. Take that to the people and say, this is what we're fighting for. Highlight the fact that the Republicans want to take SNAP away from you. We think that you can use it. Republicans want to make you pay more for health care. In the richest country in the world, they want you to pay more for health care. Democrats said, no, until there's a permanent policy in place, we think that we should continue the subsidies. That's what they should be saying on the Sunday shows. That's what they should be saying on the nightly political shows. Instead of coming on here and beating up the leadership in the Senate and in the House that created the platform for this to happen. The majority of those Republicans that are out there saying that you shouldn't do this come from the states that benefit from all of these subsidies.
Yeah.
Alabama, Mississippi,
Louisiana.
I mean, those three states fluctuate between being a third, a second, or the worst state in the union. But yet their senators and their congressmen are up here voting against it. You need to hold that over their head when you go to the poll booths. Democrats won. I read the bill. They won. They got the majority of the stuff for the American people, like Democrats do all the time, is, we bite our nose off because the majority of people that we're trying to help, they're not going to vote for you anyway. But Democrats always do that, always focus on the poor people in this country when Republicans are focusing on the rich people. One more thing before you go is, why do you think that a lot of these Republicans want to not have subsidies for the ACA? That's because their rich buddies, the people who fund their campaigns in the medical field, will make more money.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's all it's about. So they're using their ability as a politician, their authority as a politician, to align the pockets of their buddies in the medical field. When Democrats are saying, if Tony Cox is sick and can't go to a doctor because he can't afford it, the likelihood is that he's going to go out to the mall or go out to the grocery store or go out to a restaurant and infect all the rest of us. So it makes no sense not to do it.
It really don't. And I'm going to show you an example of that. I'm going to tell you an example. If you got a 60-year-old couple making $85,000 per year, that's together. Right now, their monthly premium is $602. After January the 1st, get this. After January the 1st, their premium is going to be $2,647. That's almost a 200. That is over a 200% increase in their premium. That's an annual jump of $24,500. Another example: a family that's making $130,000 monthly. Now that's considered a middle middle income type family there. That you're doing pretty good in most places except for New York or maybe even DC or Boston. So $130,000 a year, family of four now. This is family of four. They're paying $921. They will be paying $1,902. So not such a big jump, but it's still a big jump. That's an increase of $12,000 a year. So you can see what's at stake right now when you when these things expire in the 1st of January. If they don't extend it, if Congress don't extend it, this is what's going to happen to people. And I just think that Democrats should be out there on the front lines yelling it from the mountaintop. This is what we held out for. This is what we kept holding out for. I think healthcare has won it for Democrats before, and I think it's going to win it for them again. I just can't understand for the life of me when congressmen and senators got the best healthcare in the world, federal healthcare, the best in the world, with low premiums and everything, why they wouldn't allow American people to get the same type of health care that they have. But you said it, follow the money. Anytime you have a question on why, follow the money and you'll figure it out.
Sure. They're welfare queens. I laugh all the time when they're welfare queens. Every senator and congressman their insurance, the money that they make is paid for by the taxpayer of the United States. They're no different than somebody who lives in West Virginia that's on welfare. They're the
Yeah,
exact same thing, but yet they seem to look down on the American public as if, because some people in the United States are asking the government for assistance, that they're bums and they're lazy. These guys are bums. How long were they on a vacation when federal government's closed and they went on session?
like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks.
Exactly. They're gone the whole time while Americans are suffering. These guys are back in their, living in their mansions,
Having
wherever they
lavish
live.
Halloween parties and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. But
yeah,
that's what happens. Like you said, follow the money. What medical organization or what medical company is providing funds to a congressman or a senator? Because that's all you got to do is look at where they vote and then look where their money comes from.
exactly. Okay,
So,
so we talked about been talking about the ACA and what the primary reason why the Democrats held out and everything, and how it's going to affect America. So it's still out there, but we're going to have a vote. They got to have a vote in December, so we'll see where everybody stands. These premiums won't go into effect until January 1st. Now let's talk about what kind of concessions the 8 Democratic senators that crossed the line were able to extract from the Republican Party. The first one is bringing back the federal workers, making sure that they're ensuring that they're going to get their back pay. And then the caveat to that is all the federal workers, about 12,000, that were released without cause will get their jobs back with guarantees that it won't happen again without
mhm,
cause.
yeah,
So that's a win for me. I'm like you. That's a win for me. These people, including air traffic controllers, can go to work starting probably it passes the night. The president may sign it tomorrow, but he might get a wild hair up his ass and might not sign it till Friday. You never know. But whenever he signs it into law, people can go back to work and everything and start getting paid and get back pay. They can know that they can get back pay. They can call these loan people. They can call their card, the people they're getting their mortgage from. They can call them and say, "Hey, we're getting ready to get paid. I'm gonna get back pay," and call off the wolves and everything. That's important to me because, as you know, we have a lot of friends that are in that situation and
yep,
work for the federal government. And one of the senators that were one of the 8 senators that kind of crossed the line and agreed to sign was a Virginia senator, the Democratic
yeah.
Virginia senator. He said,
Kane and
"I'm
Kane
getting,
and Warren.
we're getting killed in Virginia. We're getting killed because
Yeah,
a lot of my constituents in Northern Virginia are federal workers, you know, and
yeah.
so I got to get them back to work." So he said,
Well, here's the
"Y'all."
funny thing. Here's the funny thing. The thing what I say about Democrats. Look at Virginia.
Mhm,
Democrats didn't just win Virginia. They didn't just win the governorship. They won the governorship. They won the lieutenant governorship. They won the attorney general.
mhm.
They picked up 17 seats. People are like, oh, well, that's Virginia. No, they didn't pick up the 17 seats in Northern Virginia.
Nah.
They picked up the 17 seats in Royal Virginia.
Yeah, yeah, in the
Now,
mountainous areas
Virginia
too.
in the exactly. And it's partially because of the shutdown. People think it's only affecting Northern Virginia. No, there are a lot of people. I know people because I live in Northern Virginia. I know people in Northern Virginia that have family all over the state. And those people up here who lost their job and been working and not getting paid, they send money to places in other parts of Virginia. They help pay for their relatives' children to go to college
Mhm.
and stuff like that, to play soccer and all these sports. It's done because the people up here make more money. So you lay off all the people in Northern Virginia, and it affected the entire Commonwealth. I
Exactly.
mean, Democrats won places down in Southwest and Southeast Virginia, which have never been Democrat.
Mhm. Yep, yep, exactly. They did the same thing in southern states. Look in Georgia.
Yep,
Georgia, they won 2 statewide elections and put 2 Republicans out of a job, you know?
exactly.
We didn't see that one coming. We really didn't see that one coming.
Well,
Even
people are
on
tired of it. There are decent people in this country, few, but there are decent people in this country that are like, look, you're living in Mar-a-Lago, billion dollar house down there, and you're stopping the government from operating, affecting everybody. People think it's just the DC. It's not. There are goods, there are processes that happen in DC that were shut down because they stopped the government. There are lots of companies in Wyoming, New Hampshire, all these so-called places where they're supposed to be conservative that benefit from government subsidies, that benefit from government contracts. So it's not just affecting the people that live in the 18 jurisdictions in the National Capital Region. It's affecting people across the country.
Yep. Okay. Now some of the stuff that I need to let y'all know that the protection from not being fired is only temporary right now.
Right. Yep.
They are working to try to make that permanent, but right now it's temporary. But some of the other things, it leaves the federal workers kind of vulnerable though. Right now, what used to be a secure job don't seem as secure as it used to be with Donald Trump in office and everything. People used to love their federal jobs because they know it was secure, that the money would be there, and if they work hard, they could have a successful career and move up the ladder. So some people are not feeling. This is one thing I didn't know. There's no direct funding for HBCUs now. One is not so long ago, all these black people jumping up and down. Donald Trump did more for HBCU than any
Huh?
president and
Yep.
whatnot. Now, let me, black people that voted for Donald Trump, how you feeling right now? How you
Uh-huh.
feeling right now? I want to know how you feeling because he's made clowns out of y'all, made
Mm-hmm.
regular clowns out of y'all. There's no direct funding for HBCUs or community health programs, meaning, the health programs that you see in the communities. I got to give a shout out to Michael Jordan, who's opened up community hospitals all over North Carolina. He's opened up about 4 or 5 of them. And they're community hospitals, no cost when they go there and everything. They were strained. These HBCUs and these community hospitals were under tremendous amount of strain during the time that the shutdown was going. And so coming back after the shutdown, it's gonna take them a little time to get spun back up.
Yep.
And so our economic harm is outsized, and the delays in SNAP and housing assistance and federal paychecks is just gonna, like I said, when America is hurting, Black America is basically dying because we are disproportionately affected all the time. Civil rights leaders and union heads warned that continued shutdown deepens racial disparities in wealth, health, and education. So you see another reason why the shutdown had to end, and that 40 days is enough. And I believe is enough. And you made your point. You fought. American people asked you to fight, and you fought. And let me tell you something. The Senate is a choreograph and actor and a good job of acting by Chuck Schumer because he voted no for opening the government. But he knew that he had 8 people who were going to vote. So his no vote was secure. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he can go back to New York and say, well, I didn't vote for this if there's backlash. But it
Sure.
ain't going to be no backlash. I really don't believe there's going to be no backlash. But do you really think that, and one of the people that voted yes is in the top 3 of leadership in the Senate. Do you really think one of his top persons didn't tell him that we're going to vote yes and pass this bill? Schumer knew what was going to happen. Freeze
Of
know
course.
what's going to happen. They all know. Democrats and for all you that don't know, a lot of these decisions and these deals are done in the back room that used to be a cigar room that they used to go in. Me and you, when there weren't too many women in the Senate and Congress, me and you used to go in cigar rooms, smoke their cigar, drink their bourbon, and make deals.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore, I don't believe, but that's how they make deals. Democrats, Republicans, all of them knew this was gonna happen. And you saw when I think one of the people in our group text said as soon as these little rich white people kids can't get home for Thanksgiving because there's no flight, you'll see them cave real quick. So I don't think there was a chance in hell that this holdout would go into the holiday season. Too much
No,
money,
because
too much money to be lost.
exactly all the big box companies, all the big stores that I talk about on all the time, they were sending their lobbyists up to the White House saying, whiskey tango foxtrot.
Yeah,
And they're like, look, it's November, the middle of November. People are going, we got Black Friday coming up here in a couple weeks. You need to get people back to work. That's exactly what happened, which is why nobody said anything about the fact that they're going to back pay. So
yeah,
what was the purpose of not paying if you're going to turn right back around and give people back pay?
yeah,
The
yeah,
purpose is that Walmart,
yeah,
Amazon, Lowe's, all those companies went in there and said, look, we need people to buy stuff for the holidays.
yeah.
So they were like, oh,
Exactly.
okay, let's make sure that we get them their back pay. And you know who
Yeah,
else was up there? The banks. The banks are like, look, we can't continue to not get our interest payments
yeah,
because you want to play politics.
exactly.
You heard all the banks saying, oh, well, if you were laid off, give us a call. We'll work with you. Yeah, right. They
Mhm.
had their lobbyists out there saying, we're going to make sure that you don't get elected if you guys don't come up with something.
Exactly. Can you imagine going through a lockout, no pay for federal workers during the holiday season? That's crazy. That man, they would have suffered big time.
Yeah, they would have sucked. Look, Trump can come out and say whatever he want to say about what he said to Republicans in a private room. When
Yeah,
they saw the elections on Tuesday night, they were like, oh my goodness, we need to end this, or else we're going to get run out of Congress in 2026.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly
That's
what they
all
were
it was.
saying. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in some of those meetings and everything. I know they were
Hey, and
kind
we know
of
what's
crazy.
going on. I mean,
Yeah,
American people aren't stupid. We know what's
yeah,
going on. You know who you don't hear running his mouth now? Dumbass senator from Alabama, the former football coach,
yeah,
who always got something
yeah.
stupid to say. You don't hear him saying nothing.
I ain't heard him say a smart thing since
Right.
he been
You
in
ain't heard him say nothing.
Tommy Tuberville.
Talk about it. Right. You
Yeah,
ain't heard that idiot governor from Louisiana talking about anything. He out talking about firing the football coach instead of talking about the fact that your constituents are broke.
yeah,
And a
exactly.
government shutdown doesn't help the constituents of Louisiana. You'll hear anything from him
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all the usual suspects who are always out here talking about overspending. You don't hear any of them complaining now because they know.
Mhm.
And Democrats need to. We Democrats have a messaging problem because
Yep,
every time there's a bill that comes through or a lockdown or a shutout or closing the government, what the Democrats get for the American people, generally speaking, is positive. But they'd have a problem with going out and explaining to the American people what they have done. The
mhm,
majority of these states that vote Republican, Alabama, Mississippi,
mhm.
and West Virginia, all those poor states that sit in the bottom third of the United States as far as economics are concerned, vote Republican. And they have no idea what their Republican senators are doing to prevent them from getting things that they pay for.
It's sad. The thing about and it's funny that you named those southern states, and in Georgia, Margaret Taylor Greene, MTG,
Yeah.
has finally woke up. Now, she didn't wake up on her own accord, y'all. Don't think that she just woke up and said, I feel bad for Americans now, and I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna start saying stupid shit. I'm gonna do the right thing, you know. She didn't wake up and just say that. There are some things going on in the background. One is she was getting for her seat, she's getting a run for her money
Yep.
by this black gentleman. He's on Mega Sci-Fi, and he's giving her a run for her money right now. She's fighting for her life. And Donald Trump and some of the Senate leaders were not backing her to become a senator in Georgia. So she got a little pissed off about that. So she's not really her newfound freedom and thinking on her own has come with survival mode. She's in survival mode now. She
Man,
she
none of
wants to
the
go back to her district and say, "See, I stood against the president to make sure that y'all got your SNAP," because she stays in a poor district. Her district is
yeah,
poor. And so she want to be able to say that she fought for her people and everything. And now she's doing the other thing that's popular in those little towns. She gonna be able to fight and say that I voted to release the Epstein files and stuff. So she going against her dear leader, that she was ready to kiss his the bottom of his shoes earlier. Now she going against him because senators and congressmen do what they normally do. They go into survival mode. When you get ready to take their good jobs and their good benefits from them, you go into survival mode. If I'm not mistaken, if she get reelected, this will be her third term, which gives her 6 years, which get her fully vested for retirement.
yep.
If she don't,
Then
she
she
got
got to go back to work at Walmart, which is
yeah,
where she came from.
exactly. So she's fighting for her political life right now. So that's why she's joined forces with people that you wouldn't normally think she would join forces and going against the president. And I think she got permission for the president to do this because he's not going at her like he normally go at people that go against him. You ain't seen him go full throated after her yet. So I think they
Man, that
got some
guy,
kind of under the table agreement.
that guy ain't got no loyalty, man. None of those people up there have any loyalty. None of them. They will turn their back on you and stab you in the back in a heartbeat. Every last one of them.
Margaret, you on your own, girl.
Yeah. Well, and if it's beneficial to him, to the president, he
Yeah,
would do it.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah. But I mean, we know what the plan is. I mean, I knew from day one that the government shutdown was going to be a certain amount of time, and then when it came to, you know, when they needed to pull the plug, they would. Because I'm telling you, this country is run by people, by corporations with money. And those corporations were not going to sit there and lose the Black Friday and holiday spending because Donald Trump's got some vendetta against somebody. They
Exactly,
weren't going to do it.
exactly. That's good that you said that because we can go into the summary right now and summarize what's going on and why we knew that this wasn't going to last too much longer. And you hit the nail on the head with the timing, big business, the economy already not looking good,
Mm-hmm.
though the president has said it looks good, and he said something else stupid today. We talked about it last week when we talked about the media, how he controlled the news cycle, because he speaks every day. He one of the few presidents that have some kind of press conference every day.
That's right.
Every day he's sitting in front of a camera answering questions. And so he was asked a question yesterday by a Fox News host. Why is America accepting so many is it B1 visas, the visas for people with certain talents and stuff? Not only do you have to put in an application, but you got to pay an astronomical fee for it too. I forget how many hundreds of thousands. It's either $100,000 or tens of thousands of dollars. You got to pay for this visa, and then you jump to the front of the line because what you're saying is what American people were saying, that you have a skill that we need, and that you can jump to the front of the line. So Fox host was saying, why are we doing so many of these? If we gonna crack down on immigrants, we gotta crack down on all immigrants. Really? He's like, no. Well, these people have special talent, and America don't have talented people like that actually came out of her mouth. So she asked him another question to try to give him a chance to clean it up. He said, no, we just don't have that many talented people in America. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
See, that is a result of what conservatives have been doing for the last 25 to 30 years. Is when you when you change the educational standard in our country, when you change how our kids are taught, what they learn, when you push kids into fields that non-technical fields, then what you get is a majority uneducated, unskilled workforce in the United States. We got 350 million people here. You can't tell me we don't have enough people to be able to have uh, the technical skills that they need to go get from these other countries. But over the last 30, 35 years, what Republicans have done is cut education, cut subsidies to colleges and to high schools, taking programs away to take our brightest, our best and brightest, and put them in different courses with people that are like minded. And what that's done is now you have a populace that is less talented.
Mm-hmm.
And people overseas, they're pushing their kids into better education. Their government's funding their better education. So those people, they just don't stay there because their country's poor.
Right.
So they come to the United States. But they're putting education as a number one priority. We're making it as the number 10 priority. And then you complain about why you don't have qualified people. It's not just higher education, it's lower education too, like farming. I
Yeah.
mean, we used to be the industrial. I'm sorry, not industrial, but agricultural country in the world when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to farming
Mm-hmm.
and agriculture. But when you push that away and you make people think, oh, you don't want to do that, you don't make any money being a farmer or dealing in agriculture, go into tech or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you've taken away from people who did that, and now we got to go to other countries to get our architect.
Right. 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 Right.
My brother and I were talking about the money, the $40 billion that he wants to give to Argentina for beef. And I'm like, in the United States, there's no one in the world that makes better beef than United States. Is there a better state in the union
I
outside of
was
Texas?
I was
You
stationed
mean
in
so we
Clovis.
got to go to Argentina to get
Yeah.
steak in
Yeah.
the
I was
United
stationed
States?
in Clovis, New Mexico, and that's all they had was cows there.
Yeah, I'm
Cows.
like, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Come on, beef in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. So it gets crazy and stuff. Yeah, so we've talked about what happened with the shutdown, why it happened, what we got out of it for a 40-day shutdown, the longest ever shutdown, what we got out of it, how it affect Black America. We talked about that, how it's a disproportionate effect on us because of federal workers, a disproportionate amount of Black people work in the federal government. We depend on the ACA more than most people do. Now, the SNAP and the WIC and if you want to call it welfare or whatever, more white people take advantage of that program than Black people. But when you look at it per capita, we might have them beat there.
sure.
But more white people in general take advantage of it. So, but it affects us more a little bit harder. So, anything you want to add before we get on out of here for
Yeah,
next week's episode?
just really quick on that. I don't know why people always use that as an argument. Oh, there's more black people on welfare than white people. That's not a flex. You know what I mean? It's not a flex for people to say that. Yeah, there shouldn't be more per capita, but most of the white people in this country haven't experienced what black people have had to experience and get through. And secondly, why is that a problem? We pay taxes just like everybody else.
There you go. There you go.
And I,
There you
I don't
go.
understand. I don't understand when people say that. So what? So what if there's more black people on welfare than other people? We pay taxes. I know I pay taxes every day of my life since I work. My father paid taxes. My
Mm,
grandfather paid taxes. That's what the government's for. They should be providing people with an opportunity. You want to talk about a term limit or a time limit on how long people get benefits? I'm perfectly willing to have that conversation. But we're going to have that conversation about everybody on the benefit. We're not going
yeah.
to just say because you're black or because you're not white that you have to work or that you have to get off of benefits. No, we're going to have that conversation about everybody. That includes
Yeah.
West Virginia, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, all these welfare
And don't
states. We're
forget,
going to talk about,
don't forget,
huh?
don't forget Argentina. Because if you give 400 million to Argentina, that's welfare too.
Right. No, it's
Yeah.
not 400 million, 40
400
billion.
to Argentina, that's
40
welfare
billion.
too. That's welfare too.
Exactly.
When you give
Exactly. And
tax cut,
It's not just
to big
Argentina.
business, yeah,
We give money to lots of European countries,
yeah,
lots of them.
yeah,
And see, and I don't want to get on another subject, but I say this all the time when we talk about immigration. Why do we always focus on the southern border? as if that's the only place people come into this country. Why don't we focus
Mhm,
on Canada, where a lot of
mhm,
those Europeans come in
yeah,
to the United States? Why don't we go to Dulles or
mhm.
New York City, LaGuardia, or God, what's the other airport up in New York?
Teterboro?
Can't think of that.
Well, that's New
Huh?
Jersey. Teterboro,
Kennedy.
Kennedy. Okay,
Yeah. Why don't
gotcha.
we talk about Kennedy or LaGuardia? Or why don't we go out and look at LAX?
Mhm,
Or Chicago's airport, because there's a
mhm.
whole lot of people,
Here.
Europeans, that come in on airplanes into the United States on visas, whether they
Mhm,
work visas, educational visas, and never leave.
yeah, you got it. Just a little note.
So,
Go ahead before
no, I was
I
just gonna say, so when people start talking about immigration, let's focus on all immigration and stop just focusing on people who share a darker complexion. There are lots of people in this country. Shoot, you can go up to New York and throw a dime in the air and hit a Russian or Ukrainian this here that never left on their visa. Anyway, I'll
yeah,
end it at that.
yeah. So just a reminder, who's Congress voted to end the shutdown.
Okay.
Uh the president will sign it soon tonight if he get time, because he right now he's meeting in the situation room trying to get Republican congressmen not to vote to release the Epstein file.
Of course he is, because he's all on it. His name's all over that paper.
He may not have time to sign it tonight because he got them coming to the situation room. I guess he wants them to understand how important it is for them not to sign to release that thing, you know? So he's made at least 2 or 3 congressmen to come out there, congressmen and congresswomen to come to the situation room to talk about it and everything. It'd be interesting to see. There's one thing about him, he does not do anything clandestine. He do it right in your face. He really does, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he basically spitting in people's faces, man, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I'll take it. Let me open my
Yeah,
mouth so you can
and
spit in my
daring you to
face."
do something about it. It's
Right?
crazy.
He's doing that. He's been doing that forever.
Yep.
Lying to people, telling them how how bad the country is, and how much criminal we got going on. I'm like, you go to some of the worst cities previously, Baltimore. Baltimore's at a 40% decrease in murders and crime. Philadelphia is the same way. New York City, but yeah, you listen to the president. Who, as far as he's concerned, we're in squalor.
Exactly.
United States is like a purge.
And the biggest lie is Project 2025. I've never heard of it. Some nutcase or something I've never heard of. And in less than a year, he's implemented everything that was in Project 2025 pretty much, or tried
Oh
to.
yeah.
Okay, so good conversation tonight. Just want to let y'all know that next week we're going to talk about the next 250 years, vision casting. What does liberation look like? Just try to put a vision out there on what the next 250 years may look like and everything. And that will end our series on 250 years in the making, Black America's reckoning and renaissance. Thank y'all for standing in, coming, being here and everything, and listening to our podcast. Sulayman, once again, another great show. Thanks for
Yes,
bringing your
sir.
insight and everything to the show, making it what it is. Okay. Remember,
Unleash Suleiman Brown, right?
yep, there we go. Unleash it. Remember to visit YouTube, Gents Making Sense, Spoutable, Gents
Gents
MS.
Making Sense, brother.
Yeah.
Gents MS.
Gents MS on Spoutable. So get out there, support us. We're going to try to do the best to bring the best content we can every week from our perspective, looking at the Black perspective. Thank you once
Yes, sir.
again. I appreciate it.
Deuces.